when there's a situation where the mind can start to form a thinker of this is the end mantra, and then it's a momentary blip. It's no longer this, because mind created time. Suffering is also, it's basically kind of a slowing down of time. You can suffer 1,000 years in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, worrying about that I missed my train, or I missed my plane, and what's going to happen and all this. You can suffer. And you probably had an experience like this, and then you go to somebody and you're like, oh, you know, I just had this happen. And they're like, oh, no, it's no problem. We'll just stamp this. You just have to wait over in this line for like 10 minutes. Or,
Mm-hmm.
But the mind wants to make it sound like it's the end of the world, my friend.
Yeah, it's interesting how, you say, you know, what comes and goes isn't real. And I mean, suffering, 1 minute, like you just said, 1 minute it can be like the most intense. Your mind thinks it's the end of the world, and 5 minutes later you're completely forgetting about it. And and I don't know, that process is showing me that change. That change thing is not what it is, or what we're after. The change thing that come and go. And like in the midst of suffering, we think it's just, like you said, it's going to stay forever. And then 5 minutes later, you're distracted and it's over with. It's like, wait a minute, how can it be that real 1 minute, and then the next it's totally gone?
Exactly. And babies are a perfect example of this when they don't know themselves. They're just this little blob of, quote, I amness without the knowing. You know, they don't know themselves. And you can give them a toy and then take the toy. They'll cry like crazy, but then give them something else. Attention is immediately on this, because there's not a knower. They haven't formed this. And like, this is how, when Maharaj says the sage and the baby are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because you can have a child where it's like, okay, you're playing with this rattle, but the rattle is very noisy. I take the rattle away from you. You cry like crazy, but now I bring in this other thing, and it's, So attention is just like, and there's no attachment to anything at all. And what you're just describing about the thoughts and the bad feelings and this and that, how you're noticing that they come and go very quickly, that's in that when there's no form being taken. When there's a form being taken, it's like a flag that's planted on the field. Do not cross this line. And then there's a defense. And that defense is the me. And the me tries to use all the thoughts that are passing to be my thoughts and a me, and I just get lost and lost and lost, and then I forget that it's going to pass. And I'm totally, completely convinced that, oh, this is really terrible. And the less me that's formed, especially with mantra, it will be quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker, just like the baby. Rattle, take the rattle away, cry, oh, here's another thing. Just like that with everything.